We wanted to talk to you about a common emergency that we see at the clinic, which is often something that can take owners by surprise as they're not aware that it can be an emergency, and that is the blocked bladder cat. Now, a blocked bladder is exactly what it sounds like. It's when the bladder gets obstructed, gets blocked, and the cat can no longer go to the toilet. Now, it can affect male cats, it can affect female cats, and actually it can affect other species too, but it's the male cat in particular that seems to suffer the worst from this condition. Now, what happens is the little tube, the urethra, from the bladder to the outside world gets pinched off by inflammation or by spasm, or gets filled with a little plug of crystals or inflammatory material, and then the urine can no longer escape, and you end up with a cat that's trying to strain, trying to pass urine, but it can't get out of that bladder. And the bladder expands and gets massively bigger, and all the toxins that the cat is trying to get rid of, they back up, and you end up with a cat that has really high levels of all the toxins it's trying to get rid of, and that can be rapidly fatal. In fact, a blocked bladder cat can die within kind of 24 hours of it happening. Now, this is a condition that happens throughout the year and for all kinds of problems, but we see a lot of it at this time of year because as the weather gets bad, you get cats that no longer want to go outside and urinate in the bad weather, and that can cause them issues internally and stress issues, and they can get these bladder conditions. And actually, stress is a really common reason why this could happen, but it can also happen because of infections, because of crystals or stones within the bladder, or even sometimes because of things like tumours. So signs-wise, usually actually they've been showing signs for a little while, but we may not have picked up on them. And they start off just showing classic cystitis signs, which is straining a bit more to go to the toilet, visiting the litter tray, or going outside to go to the toilet more often. Commonly they'll start urinating in other places in the house rather than just in that litter tray, and you might notice that there's little traces of blood within that urine. If it's untreated, they can then go on to that next stage, that block stage. So if you ever see signs of cystitis, especially in a male cat, it is an emergency. I would contact your vet straight away. I wouldn't ride that one out and wait and see how it goes, because they may well go on to that second stage, the block stage. Now, when they get blocked, things take a turn for the worse, and the cat becomes very unwell. Usually the first kind of signs that they'll be showing is they will be yowling, and they will be really straining, and they will seem really uncomfortable. It can be difficult in these guys to know whether they're straining to go for a wee or straining to go for a poo. They can look very similar, but it's the urinary problems that are causing the issues. Now, with these block cats, what needs to be done is quite urgent. Usually they'll need to have a urinary catheter placed, but there's a lot to these guys. They're really unwell. They need to have fluids and bloods and lots of medication going forward. And as I say, usually they need to have surgery to place a catheter, although sometimes that's not always the case, but it is really involved treating a blocked bladder cat. So it is far better to treat them in that first stage when they're just a simple cystitis, and usually a couple of injections and some changes around the environment can make a massive difference. So take home message, guys: if you ever see any straining in any animal at all, but especially a male cat, any signs or worries of cystitis, please contact your vet straight away.